What's up, guys? JP back at you once again, bringing you guys day number 9 in my 6th annual 31 Days of Horror. This is a series in which we watch and review 31 horror films in 31 days, all during the month of October, leading right up to Halloween. Now, the past couple years, I've made it a point to try to see every horror film that I can in the theater, because you never know when you're going to see something that is awesome, and then you're going to have that memory of seeing it in the theater for a long time. On top of that, it's just nice to support the industry in which I love, and nothing quite beats seeing a good film in the theater. Unfortunately, a lot of times it's not a great film that you see, and sometimes it's actually quite a bad film that you see, but you still have those memories. I still think it's fun, and I really missed out on going to the theater a lot during my life, so I made it a point in 2016, now moving into 2017, to see everything that comes out. I actually did miss one film this year that I really wanted to see, one or two, and for the most part I see everything, but every once in a while I just don't have the time, or I never end up making it to that film, and that film is Wish Upon, coming to us courtesy of Broad Green Pictures, and this film was released this year in 2017, and it was a theatrical release that I didn't get to. To me, it looked really cool. I remember seeing the previews when I was seeing another movie in the theater, and I was like, oh, okay, this looks kind of cool. This looks like up my alley. It's a Be Careful What You Wish For, Monkey's Paw, that type of movie. I always like those sort of setups, so I have no beef with that at all. Now, it was a PG-13 film, which is, you know, a lot of horror fans just roll their eyes right away as soon as you hear that, including my good friend Jeremy. But to me, I don't get excited when I hear PG-13, but I don't get completely turned off either. I'm okay with watching a PG-13 horror film. There are good ones, 100%. So this film is the unrated version, which I have here on Blu-ray, like I said, courtesy of Broad Green Pictures. So I did watch the unrated version. This film basically follows a girl, a social outcast who has a lot of problems. Her mother committed suicide, her father is kind of weird, and I guess he's supposed to be like a hoarder. It doesn't really come across super well. I'll get into that in a second. She's bullied at school. She loves the guy who's really popular, but she's really unpopular. All these bad things, and her father ends up finding this box in the trash when he's digging for cool shit, I guess. And basically this box turns out to be like a monkey's paw. It's a Be Careful What You Wish For device. It's a device that grants you a wish, but in return somebody dies, or something bad happens. And as we find out more about this box, we learn that on the 7th wish, you get 7 total, your soul goes to the box. Pretty normal, basic setup for one of these type of movies, I will admit. And basically this girl starts wishing for things, things come true, people start getting hurt and dead around her. Classic story. And that's probably the biggest problem with this film. It's very paint by numbers. It's the exact setup, the exact, you know, play out of any one of these type of movies. There's dozens of these Be Careful What You Wish For stories, whether in movies, TV shows, or books. There are plenty of these type of stories, and this one is very basic. I will say a few things that I really liked. One, I liked the box setup. I liked the mythology behind the box. They tried to add a little bit of extra mythology by talking about how the box was created. I liked that it was, you know, this had to be figured out through different investigation narratives. I've always been a fan of like the investigation part of these type of movies, of really any movies, like haunting movies especially, where they look up the backstory of whatever the problem is, you know, whether it's a VHS tape that's haunted, or it's, you know, a magic box that's haunted, or whatever. I like those setups, and honestly, like, the acting is like okay for the most part. I like the lead character. She's sort of likable. Her friends are funny and likable. There are a few cringy moments in this film. It tries to be very like modernized with just some of the lingo and like some of the tropes that the characters are doing and things like that. The film does feel a little bit soulless though, and it's partially because of the paint by number aspect of this film. and for those of you who don't know, paint by number just means follow a blueprint for films that came before it, you know, that were set up. Very basic. It doesn't really deviate from anything. My biggest problems come into this film are, I guess, her father, played by Ryan Phillippe, which I actually didn't even realize until I was sitting down to do this review and I looked on the back of the case. Basically, her dad is supposed to be very embarrassing to her. Like, he picks through trash. Now, people make fun of her about this, but I couldn't see why he was doing that. Like, he's supposed to, I think he's supposed to be a hoarder, but if anybody's actually ever met a hoarder or even watched the show Hoarders, this is a very fake version of that. So that is one strike against you. What I thought he was a junk picker. I had a friend whose parents didn't have jobs and their entire livelihood came from picking junk, meaning going to places where there's broken dryers or washers in the yard, looking at newspapers, like you haul it away type things, and just scrapping, basically, and taking it to a scrapyard and getting money for it. These people were also alcoholics. So I thought that that's what he was, which would have made more sense. But again, if they would have done it that way, they still didn't make the character look realistic at all. Like, it comes off very fake and very written like somebody didn't know what they were doing. So that was one of my biggest issues. The film plays out exactly like you would expect. The only thing that I like better, that I wasn't expecting, is the character truly loves these wishes. Like, people are dying and it's almost like she doesn't even care, which I think is a nice spin on it. I like that concept because, honestly, I know a lot of people that would probably not care if people were dying, like, especially if it's people they don't know. You know, because if you're getting whatever you want in life, I mean, people have killed people for a lot less than infinite possibilities, right? So I understand that a lot of people would be down with wishing on this box. So I like that angle of it. But yeah, it ending kind of surprised me a little bit, but it was shot very bad. So there's that. Overall, it was definitely an entertaining movie. You know, this is what you'd call a popcorn flick. Not too much thinking going on. Just kind of cool to see what's going on. The unrated version, I doubt, adds a ton of gore. It feels like every single death was cut short, even in the unrated version. Like, it feels like there were more death to that death. So it was like, maybe this film initially existed as an R and got cut, and during filmmaking they just filmed it as a PG-13, but it feels like the scene should have been longer. It actually feels like they chopped the scene. But if this is the unrated version, it should be the whole scene. So maybe they actually chopped the scene while making it. It's, you know, like, just didn't film any more stuff. So I don't know. Anyway, guys, I'm gonna come in at a 6 out of 10. I could have came in at a 6.25 if I did that, because it does feel better than a 6, but I don't think it's as good as a 6.5, so it's somewhere in between. I'm gonna stick with 6 though. One of the weaker films that I've seen this year, but I still had a ton of fun with it. See you guys tomorrow with another review. Peace.